this video tutorial, I'm going to show you how we make a simple border using the new Shiregreen die from the John Next Door collection. And we're going to use some of the stencil sentiments. This time we're actually going to be using this set, which is the additions. So we've got On Your Engagement, Congratulations, things like that. I'm actually going to use Congratulations because it matches so well with so many different occasions. So what I've done to start with is I've cut a piece of white card down. Now the die is 6 3/4 inches long. So I've cut this down already to 6 3/4 inches so that it's the same length. But what I've done is I've cut this to 3 inches down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach the border pieces. Just quickly clean those out. I'm terrible for doing that. So you can see with a 6 3/4, and I'm putting this exactly against the edge. As I was saying, the 6 3/4 inches shows that it fits exactly on the die. And I'm going to use the little sort of ribbon thread or ladder die as well. So it's one of these. So I'm just going to butt that up against that detail and tape that down. Now at this point, I can attach the second eye on the other edge. So I'm going to do that. And again, I'm matching these little points up all the way along against the edge of the card. That helps get it straight. Now there is only one in the center of this little ladder die. So obviously I'm going to have to replace that, but I'll show you how in a second. So right on the edge, it's detailed. So I'm going to use my metal shim. And I'm going to use my plate, and we're just going to run that through my Kaleido machine. And I tend to go forward and back because I might as well. It makes it easier as well for me to take out from this side and gives it 2 passes. So when we take this one out, you can see there, if I take these 2 off, I can just release that out, giving me that beautiful edge. And I've got all those little bits, and I do want to make sure that I get all of those out before I run this back through my machine. It's important when you're doing multiple passes with a piece of card that you make sure all of the loose pieces are out. And the reason is that whilst it's going through the machine, one of these loose pieces can fall out, get trapped underneath or on top, and then it will mark the card. And you'll have done all that work and you've got a big mark that you've got to stick a flower or a butterfly on. So, because again, the card's going back through, clear off the plates using the little vacuum or a metal rule. And as you can see, I haven't taken off this die. And that's because I want to attach the little ladder die in its place. So, just clear out any last little bits in there. I've got one little stubborn blue bit there. I've got that. So again, I'm just going to butt that up. Doesn't matter about the tape. You can always pull that off afterwards. But this way, I make sure it's nice and even on both sides. So we'll just pop our little plates on. Again, bring our machine in and we'll run that through. And come back again, because we might as well while we're doing it. So now, this time I can just peel off these 2 dies. I'm just being a little bit careful because of the amount of tape I've got on. There we go. We'll take this extra little bit of tape off here. Let's just get underneath. It's worth, when you've pressed a piece of tape on, it's worth just gently easing it out. And if, like me, I've ripped this card a little bit, it's okay because I'm going to trim it down on one edge. But just be that little bit more careful perhaps than I'm being on this one. So, again, we're going to take all the little pieces out because we're going to cut this through a 3rd time. So this is the point where normally I would forget to take these little pieces out. And then I would end up marking my card, which I really don't want to do. And there's also another important thing that I always find it's really important to do. before you run a piece back through is just take a glue eraser and take any glue residue or any marks off at this point, because once they've gone through 2 or 3 times, that's when they really tear. So that's when they really start to mark. And what we're going to do now is we're going to take our congratulations and see how beautiful that edging is. And we're going to go, I've got one end that's not quite so nice, so I'm just going to go bang in the center with that. There we go. I'm going to tape that down in a couple of places. And again, I'm just going to run this through, but this time, so I'm using the stencil sentiment, I'm going to run it through without the metal shim, because I don't want a lot of high pressure, because that puts a really strong impression of the outline of the die in, and that I don't want. And I tend to just go through for this once. These will cut very well, but you don't want to over stress it or over pressure it. So again, we're just going to remove that, and our tape, you can see even with that low pressure, those have all cut out. So there we go. Just taking each piece out. Okay, and as much as you can plan this beforehand, it's a lot easier to do it at the time. So you can see here I've got my congratulations, and I want to put gold behind, but I don't want it to come over those lines. So take your rule and measure it, and if you can see, basically it's almost 2¼ inches. So I'm going to take a piece of gold card and I'm going to cut it down. I've already worked this one out. This is just short on 2. So let's grab another piece just so that we can get this right. So I go to the 2¼ inch mark and I pull back by a little bit so that I've got a little bit of wriggle room. And then simply take my piece. I'm going to use some spray glue. Place it down, and you want to adhere from the back because you want to make sure that nothing pops over those lines. So you can see now I've got my congratulations perfectly there, gold, and nothing on the top. So I would simply now trim that down to the size that I want. So I find a couple of points around the right place. There we go. And I just trim that down. I'm going to trim the other side a little bit as well so that it matches. And you can see there, I've got that beautiful congratulations running through the middle with the top. So easy. It looks so complex. So here I've got a piece of, there's a little bit of handmade paper. So I'm just going to mat and layer that onto my card. Go that way? No, I think we'll go that way. So I'm simply going to glue this onto a card blank. So I've actually cut the handmade paper down to 4x6, a standard sort of UK photo size. So this is going on to a 5x7 card blank, and I love this sort of top or side fold. We're going to pop our congratulations in the middle. So I'm going to use a little bit of foam tape. I'm using a 2mm wide foam tape for this, just to give that little bit of depth without being too much or too deep. And again, it would post beautifully. And then I can add flowers or butterflies or anything else I want to on this card. But I'm going to go quite central. There we go. And there we've got our simple congratulations with our beautiful pattern top and bottom. So really simple way to use the Shiregreen border.